channel coverage from Dover Downs is not brought to you in part by Ye's Wow All the Fat Original Tato Chips. Experience taste without digestion. Joey Logano wins the pole for the second week in a row, being the only driver to run a lap sub 23 seconds with a 22.983. Kurt Busch in second, Ryan Blaney third, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and Paul Menard round out the top 10. Take a look at the banking here. Got 24 degrees, very high banked 1 mile oval, and then 9 degrees of banking on the back straightaway and the front straightaway. That's why this place has been nicknamed a self-cleaning racetrack. Just like what we see in front of us with Logano. But this place is a multi-groove racetrack. You can run practically from all the way on the apron to the high line that I'm running right now with Austin Dillon going on my inside. A whole lot of grooves usable. There's dips coming into the corners and coming out of the corners that like to upset the car on entry and on exit when the car is at its freest. And there's your lap around Dover. Stage 1 is complete on lap 40, and Stage 2 ends on lap 80. The final stage will be an 80-lap stint to the checkered flag, which they will have to make one pit stop in. Blaney has an issue, and the green flag is out. Ryan Blaney already down to the apron. Joey Logano currently your leader. As we head off into turn 3, Kurt Busch takes over second onto the outside of the leader. Kurt Busch led the first lap. Ryan Blaney, I believe, has a tire going down. That's what caused the slowdown on the start. Kurt Busch using the momentum on the high line to get around Joey Logano on lap 2. Logano is caught back up to the one car of Kurt Busch, now on the back bumper. At a certain point, Kurt Busch got out to about a half of a second lead. Brad Keselowski now up into the third spot with Kyle Busch and Paul Menard making the top 5. Paul Menard being put through the middle, now falling all the way from 5th down to almost 8th. Martin Truex Jr. has now made his way all the way up to 4th position. And Kyle Larson is now up into the top 10. We're now halfway through Stage 1, and the margin between Kurt Busch and Joey Logano has stayed relatively the same throughout this first stint. A little bit of contact between the 19 and 2 cars. Truex really slid up and lost grip on the bottom. And the caution is out. Oh my goodness, we have a flip. And the pace car killed about 3 people. Kurt Busch is your leader, and the 18 and 20 cars are now out. Huge mess on lap 23. Look at Cody Ware. Comes in full speed, and Truex is straight into Keselowski. 46 car of Joey Gase cuts down the 47 like he didn't even know he was there. Oh, the 52 car plows directly in, and so is the 51. So that takes out both Rick Ware cars that were in this race, and then the pace car kills about 3 of them. And the first car off pit road was Joey Logano, so he has now retaken the lead over Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Larson. Brad Keselowski had to have some damage repair due to Cody Ware running into the back of him in a moment of brain fade. Chase Elliott has an issue and is coming back down onto pit road. I would assume another tire. And the green flag is back out in Stage 1 with Joey Logano the leader over Kurt Busch and Martin Truex Jr. Logano now out to about a 3-car length lead over Kurt Busch. Martin Truex Jr. looking under the 1 car of Kurt Busch, trying to take 2nd position. The 9 car of Chase Elliott is just now coming off a pit road, so I would assume it was a tire going down. And the caution is out due to the 96 car. Joey Logano is the leader over Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Larson. So here's how the caution broke out. They tried to go 4 wide, which again doesn't work at most racetracks except Talladega. Not enough room, they just squeeze all into each other and creates a big one on the front straightaway. Then again, there's no such thing as a small wreck at Dover. That continues as the 18 car gets a lot of damage, so is the 54, 96, and 77. And we are back green with only 6 laps to go in stage 1. Truex leads over Keselowski. Truex got a great jump and put a lap car between him and second. Kurt Busch now going for second spot. Now only 2 laps to go. Truex has now over a 1-second lead over second position. And we have a caution out to end stage 1. Truex is a little bit involved. Once again, you can't go 4 wide. Derek Cope on the inside squeezes up into the 41, turns him around, and brings a caution out to end stage 1. And the first car off the pit road is Martin Truex Jr., stage 1 winner, and Brad Keselowski and Paul Menard. But 2 cars did stay out. Joey Logano retakes the lead by doing so, with Kevin Harvick in second. And the green flag is out for stage 2. Joey Logano leads over Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. as we head off into 1. Once again, another incident on the front straightaway. Denny Hamlin involved. I believe that Quinn Hoff is involved. Second spot, currently Kevin Harvick, but Joey Logano will lead us back to the caution. Another wreck fest similar to Bristol. So this was the first incident, Paul Menard getting into 2 of his teammates, Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney. But this did not cause a caution. But this did shortly after. Tried to go 4 wide off 4 for the 3rd time. And 2 teammates once again out of the Premium Motorsports team wreck each other. Denny Hamlin gets slightly into it as well. So the first car off the pit road was Kurt Busch over Martin Truex Jr. and Alex Bowman. And 2 cars stayed out, which were Kyle Larson and David Reagan. Green flag is back out in stage 2, and Larson is trying to get a jump over David Reagan. Kurt Busch now going under David Reagan for second. David Reagan, heavily blocking 3rd and 4th position, has now allowed Kyle Larson to pull out to a 1-second lead over the field. Denny Hamlin is upside down, and we have our 3rd flip of the race. Larson still the leader over David Reagan. I don't know why, but him and Derek Cope were battling. Looks like Cope maybe venting frustrations, which led to Denny Hamlin flipping upside down. Once again, here's Copo Vision. So Dennis Hamlin gets the honor of being the 2nd Joe Gibbs driver to ever flip at Dover. And the first car off pit road is Kyle Larson over Martin Truex Jr. Larson's got a problem. He's driving through the grass just to get on pit road and rammed the pit road wall. We've had so many episodes of brain fade. This race may have just now played into the hands of Martin Truex Jr. I have no idea what was going on in the mind of Kyle Larson right now. And the green flag is back out at Dover. Martin Truex Jr. leads us down to turn 1 over Chris Buescher, and the strategy worked out with David Reagan. in the top 5, there's Chris Buescher, David Reagan, and Darrell Wallace Jr. Wallace to the inside of the 37. Don't ask me how, but Darrell Wallace Jr. is now up to second. Martin Truex Jr. is now gapped second position by 0.8 of a second. 3 wide for second with Almirola on the bottom, David Reagan in the middle, and Chris Buescher on top. Into 3, Chris Buescher will retain second position, but Eric Almirola has now taken third. Clint Bowyer on the outside line has now made his way up to third position, and now challenging Chris Buescher for second. Only 5 laps to go in Stage 2. Martin Truex Jr. has about a 4-second lead over second position. William Byron now up to second, over Clint Bowyer and Kurt Busch. And the white flag is out in Stage 2 for Martin Truex Jr. Truex gets slightly blocked by a lap car, but will win Stage 2 over William Byron. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got turned on the final lap of Stage 2 by Michael McDowell. First car off pit road, Martin Truex Jr. over Kurt Busch and Clint Bowyer. And the green flag is out for the final stage. Truex out to about a 2-car length lead over Kurt Busch. 3 wide and 3 rows. Martin Truex Jr. once again has pulled out to about a half-second lead over Kurt Busch. We've got a big one going into turn 1. 88 car hard in the outside wall. Ryan Newman once again collected. Jimmy Johnson, Brad Keselowski, a smoking 51. I would guess he probably started it. And another car upside down. David Reagan. I think we're setting records right now. We've got 4 cars that have gone upside down in this race. Martin Truex Jr. leads us back to the line over Kurt Busch. 34 car gets turned by the 88. It all just funnels down into turn 1, collecting about 8 to 10 cars. And then through 3 and 4, Matt Tifft just runs over his teammate. Derek Cope also involved. And the green flag is back out in Stage 3 on lap 97. Truex didn't get nearly as good of a restart as last time and let the lap car of Chase Elliott under him. And almost let the 1 car go with. Caution flag is back out. 8 car of Daniel Hemrick into the outside wall. Martin Truex Jr. the leader over Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick. So Chastain pretty much just runs him over the same exact way that Matt Tifft ran over his own teammate. Truex Jr. once again the first car off pit road, and Kevin Harvick has now taken second over Kurt Busch. And 2 cars have stayed out. Darrell Wallace Jr. now assumes the lead with surprisingly B.J. McLeod in the 3rd Rick Ware entry. And the green flag is back out with Bubba Wallace the leader over B.J. McLeod. Never thought I'd ever say that. Truex already under McLeod to take second position. Truex Jr. now under Bubba Wallace and is now retaking the lead with Kevin Harvick directly behind. And once again, this race shows signs of being a wreckfest as the caution is back out with Martin Truex Jr. the leader over the 4 car. Like many other crashes, 37 cuts down the 41 like he doesn't even exist and gets punted down into turn 1. Chris Buescher being the only car involved in this incident. Green flag's back out with only 50 laps to go in this concrete carnage. Truex out to a great start, with now about 5 car lengths between him and Harvick. Martin Truex Jr. has now pulled his lead back out to 1 second over Kevin Harvick. Let's give credit where credit is due. Matt DiBenedetto currently running in the top 10, and BJ McLeod still running in the top 15 and hasn't dropped 1 lap down. Only 20 laps to go in the final stage. Truex has now put a 1.5-second lead over Kevin Harvick. BJ McLeod has now fallen 1 lap down, but still resides in 14th position. Martin Truex Jr. is heading down pit road this time by. Kevin Harvick has decided to stay out. And Harvick is heading down pit road this time, along with Kurt Busch and Joey Logano. Darrell Wallace Jr. off strategy has just taken the lead. And is heading down pit road this time. The 17 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. decided to stay on the racetrack along with BJ McLeod, and they currently run 1-2. Stenhouse coming down. McLeod will stay out. Harvick is now on the inside of Truex. McLeod has come down pit road this time by. And Harvick has now successfully passed the 19 car with only 10 laps to go. Harvick is being blocked slightly by the 43 car of Darrell Wallace Jr. trying to stay on the lead lap. Only 5 laps to go. Harvick has now put a 1-second lead over him in second place. White flag. And the closer has now closed out Dover and won his 4th race of this season. Kevin Harvick wins over Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez, William Byron, Eric Almirola, Paul Menard, Clint Boyer, and Ryan Newman. Surprisingly, Matt DiBenedetto got 11th, Darrell Wallace Jr. got 12th, BJ McLeod and Corey LaJoie finished in the top 15, and Landon Castle got a top 20. So Kevin Harvick once again extends his point lead over Brad Keselowski. Now it's out to 64 points. Joey Logano moves up 3 positions in the regular season standings with his good finish. And Martin Truex Jr. with his 2nd place finish moves up 5 spots from 15th to 10th in the regular season standings. And in the playoff standings, Martin Truex Jr. finally in the chase, only 6 points above the cutoff. Paul Menard well within the top 16, 24 points above. And Eric Jones right now on the bubble, only 3 points above. Chris Buescher now outside of the chase, 9 points out. Next race is at Martinsville Speedway, right here on Speed.